Hello, I'm the Bunny Man.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror.
And we're wrapping up our Halloween series.
And I'm petting a Luna.
Not the Luna.
Finally calming down.
She's been very crankety today.
Well,
I think every
past
time
couple
we
of
record,
days.
she just gets a little
Well, no, there's been
aggravated.
There's been a lot of commotion for the past couple of days. She hasn't taken her naps. You know, she's so out of whack lately. So our last movie for this month is House of Fears, 2007. And it's found on Amazon Prime.
I didn't write that down, did I?
No.
It's not rated. And it is 86 minutes long. It is a horror thriller. And IMDb gives it a whopping 4.9 out of 10.
Yeah, so let's do what are we drinking. So what are you drinking?
Really, really stout water. Spring water.
From the Dollar Tree. Dollar General.
I think it matters where it's from. It's spring water.
And I am drinking a Leinenkugel's Oktoberfest. It's a German-style Marzen beer, like all the other ones. It is 12 fluid ounces, and it's 5.1 alcohol per volume. And it looks to be very, very light. So, we'll see.
I don't understand why Oktoberfest beers are so light.
This one is being completely different than the rest. It's got that... Leinenkugel has sort of a distinct taste in general. Mm-hmm. And this has that Leinenkugel distinction. And again, it has that quick flash of flavor of that Oktoberfest hop flavor. Mm-hmm. That Marzen, I'm guessing. And still pretty light. Again, I give it a 4 out of 5. I found this at Earth Fair. It's part of a Build Your Own 6-pack.
Yep.
I like Leinenkugel in general. So, but I'll be honest, this year's selection of Okfest, I have one more I've just not been very pleased with. I don't know what's going on. It just seems like
every year it just kind of goes downhill a little bit more, I think, with Oktoberfest beers. You don't seem to be very happy with them, so...
I just think it's just every one of them has been a Marzen. Mm. Every one of them has been that style. So I don't really know... I know, like, I know beer, but at the same point, I don't know what everything is. And I really don't know what makes a Marzen different than anything else. I was just wanting something a little bit more stoutier. I think that's than light lager. So
yes, our film is House of Fears, 2007. The director is Ryan Little. The writers are Stephen A. Lee and John Lyde. The cast is Danor Gerald, who plays Elias? Is it Elias?
I think it's just Ellis. I don't know.
And
Cydney Neal
plays herself. Kevin Clayton plays
Hamadi,
yeah. Or Hermione, I'm not
No,
really
it's Hermione.
Okay. And Corri English plays Samantha. Sandra McCoy plays Hailey. Brian Wimmer plays Mark. Shannon Engemann plays Lynn. Corri Sevier plays Carter. For the full list, you can go to imdb.com. And this film was actually nominated at the Shrek Fest of 2007 for the Best Key Art Award. I found that a little bit surprising. But anyway, they were nominated for an award. So,
I think it's Shriek Fest, not Shrek Fest.
Shriek, my bad.
Donkey!
Shriek Fest.
Shrek
I'm
Fest.
a little tired, you guys, so it's Shriek Fest.
Yeah, you said Shrek Fest.
So the storyline is, the night before a local haunted house opens for Halloween, 6 friends sneak in for fun. Soon after entering, they find themselves trapped inside with no way out. See what being naughty get you, kids? See what being naughty get you? Don't go places where you're not supposed to go.
So we start with a woman screaming in a coffin, screaming for Samantha.
Not sure if it's a coffin or a wooden crate. It looks like a wooden crate made of wooden slats.
And then the credits. And then we begin with the credits. And the credits are actually I actually find the credit sequence to be interesting. It's just like different wood grain and stuff like that. I thought it was at least entertaining compared just to black screen, white letters. So, and then some people, after the credits, then some people break in through a wall and they find some trinkets are behind it. Next
they're unearthing artifacts.
Yeah. Trinkets, artifacts.
Well, something that needs to be mentioned is the fact that they're speaking a foreign language, so they're in another land. They're in another country. They're not in America. A little bit later on, a local man brings an American woman. She inquires about some of the items that were unearthed. He realizes the people working at the site are dead. And without alarming her, he tells her they must leave. She asks how much for the small stone figure. He says it's worth nothing, just take it. They pack up and they leave.
And then we see a plane land, and then we are now in Salem, Oregon.
Of all the places.
Yeah. Oregon. There's a security guard and his dog. And this dog starts barking at a box. And of course, just out of curiosity, he just has to open it. You know, whenever my dog freaks out about something, I have to go investigate. And if it's a box, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to open it and see what happens. To reveal a creepy little statue. And then the light blows out. The light overhead blows out. And he gets attacked by something. I'm assuming the dog. So next we are in a girl's room. And a stepsister and
2 girls are hanging out.
Yeah.
One sneaks out of the window. But her dad catches her and
forces her back in.
He allows her. They have a whole conversation about everything. Well, he allows her to go to this party that she was sneaking out to go to, but under one condition.
Don't get pregnant.
She has to take her nerdy stepsister with her.
Basically, the conditions were, but Dad, I have to go. Everyone in the world is going to be there. I'll be ostracized. Dad, why are you so mean to me?
And her dad and stepmother drove them to the party. Mm-hmm. Not only did they drive them to the party, her dad had the nerve to honk the horn when the girls got out of the car to draw attention to the fact that, oh, Mom and Dad brought them.
I would so do that.
Yeah, well, when we're in Walmart and our child intentionally walks away from us, I scream her name at the top of my lungs. She has a cell phone. I won't call her. I use the mom call. She's like, Mom, you embarrassed me. And I'm like, you knew it was going to happen. Why'd you walk away? Why do you walk away to where I cannot see you and I don't know where you are? Because I will walk through Walmart screaming your name at the top of my lungs and people look at me like I'm crazy. I don't care.
So they're in this happening party with a bunch of 25-year-olds acting like they're 18. Woo!
This guy named Zane. That's such a cool name. Zane. He talks about them sneaking to the House of Fears. Carter suggests that Zane ask Samantha to the House of Fears.
Yeah, and
they all drive to the haunted house. They go inside, and Zane locks the door to where they're locked inside.
well, we find out that Zane actually works at the House of Fear, so he has like a key. They're not breaking in.
Right, well,
they're just trying it out. Yeah.
As they knock to go into the first building, a creepy voice says they will see things only from their worst nightmares. Zane jumped out at Hailey and she kicked him in his soft parts.
Okay, so up to this point, it's he sort of explains that there's several different areas, and each one plays on different fears, such as like knives, I think clowns and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just each like area has this specific fear that they're aiming for, and you're supposed to get through all of these levels of fear in order to get out of this haunted house.
Yeah.
So it's like 7 levels of hell type thing.
So she kicks him in his soft parts and punches him in the nose. She was already unhappy. Carter was not happy with her for being mean to her sister, Sam, so he decided since they were just friends, they would swap dates.
Well, yeah, because Hailey told Samantha, like, you stay away from that guy because he's mine. But she's been telling him, well, we're just basically just friends. Like, I'm keeping you in, like, reserve.
Yeah. So, he is with Sam now, and Zane is with Hailey. Zane went to get cleaned up and notices some strange things. They hear a scream and go looking for Zane and find a pool of blood. Candice and Devin, which is another group, a couple that came along with them.
They're pretty much just idiots.
Mm-hmm. They decide they're ready to leave.
No. They decided that they're ready to get their thing on and leave.
Carter is searching for Zane, and Hailey thinks it's just another prank, because Zane, he's a prankster. They think it's just a part of his, joke that he's pranking.
Yeah, because
in.
up to like this point, he's put on a gas mask and jump out at them. He's pulled pranks on them since they came in.
Well, that's a part of his persona. Zane is just the class clown.
Yeah.
And he's in a haunted house. Hello,
And he knows his way around. Yeah, I get it, but...
So they find Zane, and he is dead, hanging up like a scarecrow. He's dead.
Well, he got killed in one of his worst fears, as he said, or his favorite one, which was knives.
Yeah. He's dead. They have 0 cell reception.
Go figure.
So they take his keys and leave. But they realize quickly they're not alone.
Yeah.
Candice gets separated from the others and stuck in the mummy's tomb. Sand floods in and hands force her under the sand and drown her.
Because she had a fear of
Suffocating drown.
yeah.
By the time they find her, it's too late. So Zane is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to rate how he died? Really show it.
No, none of them really got shown. So...
Well, it showed Candice dying. Well, it showed her being pulled under.
So, I really didn't rate them because they just weren't interesting. Where you, like I said, you didn't see them. So, I mean...
Right, it doesn't actually show...
anything.
It showed her being held, and it showed the sand going up, but it didn't show the actual... You had to kind of fill in the blanks. It didn't show it actually happening.
Yeah.
So they get to the door and try the key, and it will not turn. Devin tries it and
because
breaks
he's complaining that
the key off in the
yeah,
lock.
because he's like, you're not putting it in far enough. It's like, look, I know how keys work.
So they find the office, and they find the floor plans, and decide to follow.
Well, they found also a computer, but they didn't know the password to said security system.
Right.
They didn't try the one password that they probably should have started off with, which would probably was actually the password.
What's that?
Password.
So they decide to follow the route to the other exit. They gather lights and weapons and head to the other exit by using the floor plan of the building.
Yeah. Let me guess that's where the end of your notes are. Nope.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. So they have to go through all the sort of like the sections of the maze or the haunted house, and like I said, each one of them sort of had their own sort of thing, and this, I'll call it a spirit or whatever.
Well, they were all themed.
Yeah.
By a fear that you would have of death.
Yeah. But while they're also in there, they found, like I said, like Crazy Susan said, a way out. But they also collected weapons because jumpy people with stuff that can hurt other people sounds like a great idea.
For sure.
And they start going through the rooms. One of them is a graveyard. Another is an asylum, where they found the security guard in the asylum after he tries to grab one of them. And then find out he's in the corner of a padded quote-unquote cell.
Yeah, they were going to kill him.
Yeah.
They were going to shoot him and realize that he was just a victim there too.
And then, so Devin takes the cord that was on a phone and ties him up with it, which I really don't see the point why they did that. The security guard reveals that the statue is from Africa, and it's a shrew statue.
Yeah, a shrew.
And it reincarnates your fears. They all through the group, they all revealed their fears.
Yeah, he said it will bring your fears to life, and it will kill you. Everyone fears comes to life.
Yeah, so I guess for the security guard, it was him losing his mind was his fear, so that's why he ended up in an asylum. You know, whatever chick.
His dog started attacking him.
Yeah, and then we find out that the scarecrow shows up, and the dog kills the security guard. Sam reveals that her dad died from a heart attack, and she reveals that she doesn't like scarecrows. okay, so her dad dies from a heart attack when she was a young kid, and she felt like the scarecrows were mocking. And she sees the scarecrow, and she thinks the scarecrow is mocking her, so therefore she has a fear of scarecrows. I don't understand that train of thought.
There's context here. Okay, when she was like 7 or 8, her parents owned a farm. Her mother told her to go into the field where her father was working.
Yeah, I get it.
And tell her father that supper was ready. So she ran into the field to get her dad. Her dad had a heart attack. He was laying in the field. She went to check on her dad. Just so happened he had had the heart attack in the part of the field where the scarecrow was.
But, I mean, she said she felt like the scarecrow was mocking her, and I'm like...
So basically, she connected that very traumatic event as a small child of her losing her father because she's the one who found his dead body. And looking at her dad's dead body and then looking up at that scarecrow that was menacingly looking back down at her.
Well, she says she felt like it was mocking her, not that she thought that the scarecrow killed her or killed him. I'm just saying, is like she said mocking. I'm like,
right, but
it was.
You didn't give the context of
Yeah.
why she would have thought that, as far as her dad
But, I
died
mean-
and all that. So
But I mean, I thought it was just a really weird way of mocking. Like she just felt it was mocking.
Mm-hmm.
I just find like that really wasn't a term that I would have used. And then we come across a random bald guy. It comes up and attacks. A random bald-headed guy comes up and attacks them. They find that, and then so in the office they were trying to find a phone, and it was a wireless. So anybody who used to have a wireless knows that you can hit this button on
the pager button on the base,
and
it pages the wireless.
Yeah, and they found this wireless by the pager sound, which doesn't make any sense unless somebody's in the office or they put something on top of the pager button.
Oh, it'll page it so many times.
Yeah, but it won't.
Until you push a button on the phone itself. But it'll only page it if it's so many feet away from the base.
Yeah.
The signal won't connect unless it's so close to the base.
Yeah.
But where it was supposedly at was like on the other
side
of
of the building and up top and then a metal part.
Well, the thing is, reality and movies don't always
especially
collide,
this one.
So
and then
it is what it is.
The scarecrow comes at him, and Devin fails to put bullets into his gun, and is shoved on to a electric fence and electrocuted. Again, we really don't see how he died, but I just say Devin really doesn't need a gun. I mean, he failed miserably. Like, why didn't you preload it? I don't understand. You have a gun, you have bullets, you don't preload it.
Yeah.
But he probably would have shot somebody, so...
Or himself. Would have injured the wrong person, definitely.
Yeah. And then... no, Carter is shoved onto an electric fence. And then Devin doesn't... then Devin goes into basically a house of mirrors and is tracked down by a clown.
Yeah, Devin's the one that's scared of clowns.
Yeah. And then the tall, bald man is back, and he came back to the beginning with Hailey being... Okay, so... and then there's this tall, bald man who is in the cemetery, and I guess Hailey's fear is being buried alive, so they bury her in a coffin or crate or whatever.
It's basically like a wooden crate to where there's only slats on the top so dirt can get through.
Yeah.
To just further the feeling of suffocation, because the dirt's coming in on you to just, give more of that feel of you're losing the air and the space that you're in.
And then Devin and Sam run around the maze. Sam uses the saw, which she, realized that she had, and then cuts a hole into the plywood to get to the exit. And then goes back, and then so she crawls out, and Devin, I think, is attacked by the clown, isn't he, or something like that? And then
the vampire comes back after him.
Yeah, and then
at the end, doesn't the vampire come back after him?
Yeah, and then she decides to go back to find her stepsister. As the bald-headed guy buries her, then you hear her cutting the guy up and retrieving Hailey.
Yeah, she goes back and gets her.
Yeah. And then Hailey and Sam try to escape. The Scarecrow comes in, and Sam tries to beat the crap out of it with a broom. And Hailey cuts off the arm, then becomes useless again. So Hailey cuts off. She does the one thing. She cuts off the arm of the Scarecrow, and then she becomes useless again. And they go upstairs to the quote-unquote addict.
You say Hailey cuts off her arm. It says Hailey cuts off her arm, then becomes useless again.
No. She cuts off the Scarecrow's arm.
That's not what you wrote.
I know. And then
they go upstairs to the attic.
And then they go along the catwalk to cross into the onto a small bouncing beam. Again, Hailey's useless. She's being dead weight. And she tries to attack the Scarecrow and falls through the ceiling of the control room. She tells the Scarecrow she's not afraid of him. And the statue falls from... Okay, and then she starts beating the Scarecrow with random stuff. And she picks up the statue and beats him over the head with it. And the Scarecrow has her up by the neck. And she's all like, I'm not afraid of you anymore. And then the statue falls from her hand and shatters. And it releases the spell. And Hailey and Sam escape. And the magic of the statue becomes whole again. Leaning in for a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a really, really short review.
Mm-hmm.
I give this a 1 out of 5. There is absolutely no character development. It gets really, 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 really boring. Nothing scary ever happens. We don't ever see any killing. No real good acting. The only thing that was interesting was the haunted house and the decorations. Even that was so-so. Because we really didn't see anything.
I wasn't impressed with it. About halfway through, I quit taking notes. I was like, really? Really? No.
So we have a half an hour to kill. So yeah, I don't know how to explain this.
I think it could have been done a lot better than what it was, honestly.
There was really no suspense whatsoever. It was just so boring. Like halfway through, I was just like, I'm so done with this movie. It was just like everything is every cliche that you see in every horror movie.
Really, it is.
Like I said, the only thing that was interesting was the set.
Yeah, the haunted house was pretty cool.
I would have liked to have just seen, go through the haunted house as a movie. I don't care about... I guess the only sort of creepy thing I thought was a little creepy was just this really weird old clown-looking thing. I just felt like the Scarecrow as being the big boss at the end was the stupidest thing ever. I really hate that her fear was a Scarecrow because she felt like it was mocking her as the excuse.
Yeah.
It would have been different if she had watched Goosebumps at a very young age and she saw, the Scarecrow walks at midnight or something, She got really, really freaked out. And, scarecrows are generally creepy.
Well, yeah, and if it would be different if she thought maybe the scarecrow killed her dad.
Yeah.
And that's why she was petrified of them. That would make more sense.
But not...
I don't know.
The whole, they mocked... It mocked me. It made fun of me. I felt this is the lamest thing I've ever heard. As a reason to be afraid of something. I mean, that's your ultimate fear. This statue is supposed to bring your ultimate fear. I can understand being suffocated. I can understand being buried alive. Really, I don't get the clown thing all that well. I can understand being dismembered. I don't understand being mocked. I mean, what is the ultimate end of the scarecrow going to be? Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha.
Let me scratch you with my straw.
I mean...
Don't know.
It shocked me that it even got an award, to be honest.
It was nominated to do.
It was nominated. I mean...
I know.
I don't know. So I guess this is a good lead-in. We could sort of make this into a terror talk if we wanted to. Just a minor one. So what things do you dislike in horror movies?
Dislike in horror movies?
Yeah, we've always talked about stuff we really enjoy, or we talked about how we dislike things we talked about like haunted houses last year, but I don't think we've ever really tackled things that we just get really, really tired of seeing all the time, and horror movies.
One of the things that really annoy me in horror movies is kind of what happened in this one, to where they give you part of the information, but not enough to where you really know what's going on. And then they still keep moving the plot forward, but you can't really figure out what is really going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or, like you said, this movie is nothing but all these cliches and yada yada. But some movies you can do that with, and it's a really good movie. Not that I have an issue with the cliches themselves, but if you do that, then you need to do some character development. And, there's other things that you need to do and need to have in place in order for it to work.
Well, like with this movie and some other movies we've reviewed that are on the lower end of the spectrum, with no character development, it's like, I don't care if they die or not. I don't care. Because I don't know who they are. To me, they're just walking meat sacks at that point. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I want them to be... Half the time, I want them to die. Because they just annoy the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like the whole Devin, whatever her name thing was. Like, all they were trying to do was just like, screw. That's their whole sort of like motivation in life. Right. Was to go off somewhere and screw. They all were very like one-sided, one-dimensional characters. They were less than a sheet of piece of paper, in my opinion. I didn't care about these characters. I am also really tired of the tired trope of cell phones. Like, this movie was 2007, so it was like we still were getting into the cell phone age, but we still had like landlines and wirelesses and stuff like that. And back then, like, Nokia's really didn't have, like, let's say, the greatest reception, especially in like middle buildings and stuff like that. But especially when we get into like more and more modern movies, I get really tired of, the internet's out, or I don't get cell phone reception. And then that's what they rely on. It's like, no contact. But it's like you can't keep doing that because it becomes unrealistic at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're always, it just seems like we're always connected. Unless you go deep, deep, deep into the woods. You can only do that. But, I mean, how many kids do you know are going to go deep into the woods? You can barely get people to go out to eat. They'd rather stay at home. So, I mean, we're going to have to sort of change the direction of horror to make it believable. And that's the whole thing with horror, is that it has to be believable. And if we keep putting kids in the middle of the woods where no one, when kids don't go out to the middle of the woods, no one's going to watch it. So, I mean, I don't know, just, like you said, we get, you get tired of the same old tropes over and over and over again. It's just, I'm also getting tired of flashbacks. I'm really realizing I hate flashbacks. And I don't like paranormal stuff. After The Ring came out, I genuinely liked The Ring when it first came out. But I was in high school then. The first one was something you didn't really see outside of like Asian cinema. And then, but it seems like everybody is just doing that now. It's just, some sort of like paranormal ring stuff. I'm also tired of paranormal stuff. The paranormal activity type stuff. The ghosts and all that other crap. Especially when they bring it on themselves. Like, whoa, let's play with a Ouija board in this asylum. It just... And nothing bad's ever going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, oh crap, things better happen, and I wonder what happened. Maybe we shouldn't have played with that. But yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
Right.
I mean... And then I'm always tired of the cliffhanger at the end. Like, oh, this could be a sequel. I'm like, can we not just have one and done? I'm so tired of...
They leave it open-ended, yeah, that annoys me.
Especially, with something like this. Do we really need another one of these?
No. No, we don't.
I mean, there's just no need for it. So, I mean, what else? Some stuff that annoys you on, I guess. Bad writing annoys me, too. Just, really bad plot holes. Obviously, they just forget some... they don't even... I'm not saying they forget it, but they're like, we'll never mention this again. Everybody will forget it halfway through. Or when things start breaking the rules. Things like that bother me. Other monsters. So I saw this movie years ago. And, I think they wrote themselves into a corner in the movie. Because the movie is an hour and, it's average movie time. And if you watch the movie, about 30 minutes in, they kill off everybody. And, well, we realize that and then at that point, the chick that got shot in the head comes back alive. And you're like, that seems like you should not have done that. I'm also getting tired of the sole survivor type thing. I want to see where no one survives. I want to see those movies. I just want to see more interesting horror movies. Other than... And I think we're starting to get there. I think we're starting to see stuff out of Blumhouse and stuff like that are more interesting type horror. Everything has trends. Right now we're sort of going through this Insidious / Annabelle trend with that type of universe. Those seems like the big haunted movies, horror movie industries right now.
Yeah.
And then they just released Halloween, which is supposed to be the sequel to the first one, so the retconning the entire... I'm also getting tired of that. Chucky's getting a TV series. At what point was that a good idea? I mean...
Yeah, I don't know.
I am...
Years and years and years and years of the same thing. You know what he's gonna do. He's gonna spout profanities and he's gonna kill somebody.
But now it's a TV series, so he's not going to spout profanities unless it's like, you monkey's uncle.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I like to see also, I think, more international type horror stuff. You know, stuff from like folk, you know, other folklore, like Teeth is a horrifying movie for a male, but it's actually based off of a Mexican folklore, and that is terrifying. And I just got done reading a a story which will be up in November. But we just watched a movie that's based off of that story. It's called The Vey, and that was generally creepy.
The story was called.
Yeah.
Not the movie.
No, the movie was like The Forbidden Kingdom.
Yeah.
But you know, like, and then you know, Indian horror is interesting. It's just trying to get through Indian horror. It's sort of tough.
Yeah.
I just like to see more than just the same old at this point. I'm tired of haunted boxes and haunted stuff. You know, like Hellraiser.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Hellraiser, but you know.
Yeah. How many ways can you do that?
Yeah. It's the same with The Evil Dead. Like The Evil Dead.
I think after they did everything in space, it all just kind of went downhill.
Well, I'm not even just talking about The Evil Dead in general, but I'm just saying... I'm just talking about, like, haunted item type stuff. It's just... You know, it's just... There's always these trends, and I'm hoping to see sort of a renaissance in horror. What... You know, just... Going back to... some really... we actually watched a movie on Netflix that it was set 17 something. So maybe we have to go backwards into our own history to hit those old fears.
I don't know.
Then, you know, because I honestly think we just become really, really desensitized.
It's possible.
But I think, you know, playing the same slashers and stuff like that, it's just old hat at this point. And then, you know, you can't... I don't think you could use... You know, another thing that's really starting to get to me is the use of the internet as a horror concept, but using it inappropriately. Like, people who wrote this obviously did not understand how the internet works. You know, like the whole deep web stuff and stuff like that.
Mm.
It's not like the surface web. It's completely different. So...
Well, we are glad to have October wrapped up, and we have some other very interesting things to come. We had someone who is the director of the film asked us to review it.
Review one of his films. We have several shorts to do from one of our listeners who sends in us stuff almost every other week anymore, and that's fine with us. I'll just have to keep checking that email. I'm sorry that I haven't done that. That particular email I hardly ever check, but now I will because he sends us stuff all the time. And then if you want to send us in stuff, that's fine. We're just not going to have any more contests for a long time. But if you have a short story or you have a short movie you have on YouTube or whatever, and you want us to read or review it, we'd be more than happy to do that. Or if you're a part of a con or whatever, I mean, if you want to write about, because I like to do more, I guess, like the creepypasta readings and stuff. I'm probably going to do some haunted, some horror stuff related to the upcoming holidays like I did last year. So if you want to write something about that, that'd be interesting to read something, that type of perspective. If you want to send in art for us to look at, we'll review that and put, we can even do videos on that. So,
Yeah.
It's really up to you, but we would like to have more interaction with the community and understand that we are human, so we will make errors and stuff like that. So if we accidentally misspell something, sorry.
Yeah, and we've had a lot going on in our personal lives, so unfortunately, that is the way it goes. So,
well, I have a horrible tendency to do multiple things all at once and not give it. I give a lot of things my attention, but not sometimes I solely don't do on one thing. And
yeah, not your undivided attention. So
yeah.
But anyway, that is the end of that. So
We are done for October, and so would you ever recommend watching this film? No. Unless you were that type of person that really likes really, really bad, boring movies, or it's great to clean your house too. That's the way I look at this movie. It's a great movie to clean your house too.
Well, it depends on what kind of movies you like. If you like those kind of movies, or if you just want to take the time to watch a new movie, then sure. I mean, but everybody's tastes are different, so
yeah. So I guess don't let the scarecrows mock you too much.
I think the concept for the film was really good.
I like the set. Like I said, I like the set, but I think what killed me the most in this movie was the mocking of the scarecrow. That killed me. That and 25-year-olds playing 18-year-olds. 17 and 18-year-olds. That's another thing that really bothers me in horror movies. When they're obviously like in their 30s. Like, we're underage drinking. I was like, no, you're not.
Try again. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
High school's so hard. I graduated like 10 years ago.
yeah, anytime you guys want to talk to us, have questions, feel free to message us or whatever. And we do have merchandise if you guys ever want to check that out. Feel free to do so.
Yep. We forgot the shilling, but we'll get back into our groove next month. So
We're doing this very late at night, early in the morning, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, I'm kind of like zoning in and out. So we'll scare you guys later.
bye. Don't mock me, Scarecrow.